Hey guys, I'm going to start a video today. I'm going to go into the first 100 days that Donald Trump talked about, things he promised, things that he's doing, things that he's not doing. Let's get into it. For decades, the U.S. government has offered services in multiple languages, but there's never been a law saying English is the official language. Trump, in his first 100 days, has changed that with the stroke of a pen, making it official across all federal agencies.
It is official. President Trump has just signed an executive order making English the official language of the United States. And a lot of Americans probably didn't realize English wasn't already the official language of the United States, but the founding fathers, they never designated one. That is now officially changed. So what does this mean exactly? Well, government agencies may not have to offer any kind of documents or forms in any other language other than English if they so choose. But are you going to see a real impact here in California? Not likely. The state designated English as its official language back in 1986, and it continues to offer forms in plenty of different languages. In fact, California is one of more than 30 states that have already designated English as their official language.
Alan Gaines notes drivers need to speak English to communicate with others and even ask for directions. In an executive order, the president agrees with him, saying proficiency in English should be a non-negotiable safety requirement for professional drivers. They should be able to read and understand traffic signs, communicate with traffic safety, border patrol, agricultural checkpoints, and cargo weight limit station officers. Drivers need to provide feedback to their employers and customers and receive related directions in English. This is common sense. Trucker Hermes Duran said he is able to at least communicate and speak in English, but he realizes if his English is not good enough, an official could force him out of service, essentially out of a job if they don't understand him.
I think it's symbolic. I think it's done in most states, and I think it's a good move if the states are not doing that. I mean, it is our language. We can't go to an airport and places like that, and we're hearing things that we don't even understand. It doesn't make sense to me. So I think it's a good move. When you're hiring a truck driver, if he doesn't speak English, he doesn't know how to read certain signs and warnings and stuff like that. I mean, it makes sense that he should be able to speak English. I called a YouTube driver one day, and I couldn't even communicate with him. He'd have to hear me talk, and he has to listen to it on a phone. I don't understand what he's saying to me. It's insane. It took 5-10 minutes just to communicate where I'm going and what's going on. Why they would hire somebody like that is mind-boggling to me. Trump followed through on his promise to roll back progressive gender policies. That means banning transgender individuals from military service and stopping trans women and girls from competing in female sports.
Is the Maine here, the governor of Maine?
Not here.
Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that.
This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. In recent years, the radical left has waged an all-out campaign to erase the very concept of biological sex and replace it with a militant transgender ideology. You've heard a little bit about this, haven't you, huh? Just a little bit? Does anybody agree with them? No. Would be not a good thing to say yes right here. Female athletes have been forced onto the front lines, and men claiming to be girls have stolen more than 3,500 victories. That's a lot. and invaded more than 11,000 competitions designed for women. But all of that ends today because with this executive order, the war on women's sports is over. We've had record numbers of people wanting to join our military. Now, if you go back 6 months, it was the exact opposite. You had record numbers of people not wanting to join the military. Now you have record numbers of people wanting to be in our military. And that's a great honor. That shows you we're really on the right track.
Listen, there was always gay people around, transgender, whatever they are. Men wanted to be women or vice versa. It was, it can't spread all over the country in all different ways in sports and things like that. It's gotten out of hand. It was always there. If you want to be gay, stay with your boyfriends, husbands, or whoever it is. I'm not against that, but going across the country and changing things, and in schools, they want a little boy, start talking to him. You could be a girl, dress the boy like a girl. You're like brainwashing a kid. So I think I'm against that, and I'm for what Trump said and did. I don't believe that transsexuals or transsexuals should be in the military, giving orders and stuff. It's just unimaginable. I was in the military too. I just can't imagine a man dressed like a woman giving me orders to go here and do this and do that. It just doesn't fit in natural life, common sense. So if you want to be gay, there's no problem with it. There was always gay people. There was gay clubs. There was the places you can go that the people dressed like women did actually put on a show. You went and watched the show. It was amusing. It was good. This is insanity. We have dyes and poisons and food. So I think Trump, in his first 100 days, is tackling a lot of things that make sense, and it's made to help the country. We constantly put him down and knock him whether you like him or not. Why don't we find out how it starts to work out? I think what Biden did and Kamala Harris crushed the country, open borders and what's going on. There's all kinds of crimes. Let's see what he does, how it turns out. Forget about whether you like him personally or not. Let's just see how it turns out. It looks like he's on the right track with things, to me. I saw a thing with Bruce Jenner talking. He must have been gay all the while, but at 65 years old, came out like a woman. But he still talks good. He talks about common sense things. Those things should be related to if you're gay and you want to go with a transsexual woman, that's fine. Do what you want to do. But it can't be taught to kids in school. And we're trying to brainwash people to become something that we're not. Men and women's sports, they're just winning over and over. We're literally stronger, physically stronger than women. And it's not fair to the women if you really respect women. I don't know how women could support these things. You're a woman. And there's a man dressed in a woman's clothes saying they're the same as you. How do you condone that? How do you back that? I mean, it's a disgrace to you. So if you're not fighting for it, I don't know, I can't understand it. And you have daughters and people who are going to grow up in sports and go into a boxing match with a man or a race with a man where they're so superior to women in those categories. That don't mean they're superior to women. Women are much smarter and they have different functions than a man. We're just born like that. Religion will teach you that. Nature will teach you that. Common sense will teach you that. I think Trump is on the right track with a bunch of these things that he's doing. One of Trump's top campaign issues is immigration. In his first 100 days, he created a system to pay undocumented immigrants $1,000 to self-deport and started new deals to send deportees to third world countries like Rwanda.
have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth, some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
Next this evening to President Trump's new effort to speed up his mass deportation plan. He's now offering undocumented immigrants $1,000 in taxpayer money and a free flight if they self-deport. And tonight, President Trump now says he wants to reopen Alcatraz, calling the prison horrible and beautiful. Here's our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce.
Tonight, in an attempt to accelerate his mass deportation efforts, President Trump unveiling a new plan, offering undocumented immigrants $1,000 in taxpayer money and a plane ticket to self-deport.
We're going to pay each one a certain amount of money, and we're going to get them a beautiful flight back to where they came from, and they have a period of time. And if they make it, we're going to work with them so that maybe someday, with a little work, they can come back in if they're good people.
The Trump administration says they've deported 150,000 people since January, far short of the pace needed to remove the tens of millions the president promised. Trump today blaming required immigration hearings for slowing down his plan.
The courts have all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they said, maybe you have to have trials. We're going to have 5 million trials. Doesn't work.
In a remarkable statement, the president refusing to say whether he believes he needs to uphold the Constitution and the right to due process.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said.
Tonight, the administration insisting Trump's new self-deportation plan won't just jumpstart deportations, it will also save money, noting the average cost to arrest, detain, and remove an undocumented immigrant is more than $17,000. They say one person has already taken up their offer, booking a flight from Chicago to Honduras. And tonight, Trump, who has sent hundreds of undocumented migrants to a notorious prison in El Salvador without any due process, is now talking about reopening one of America's most infamous prisons, Alcatraz. Known as The Rock, perched on a rugged, hard-to-reach island off San Francisco, it closed over 60 years ago because its remote location made it too expensive to operate. Now Trump wants to bring it back, saying he's instructing the Bureau of Prisons to reopen a substantially enlarged and rebuilt Alcatraz to house America's most ruthless and violent offenders.
But it sort of represents something that's both horrible and beautiful and strong and miserable, weak. It's got a lot of qualities that are interesting, and I think they make a point.
And back to the self-deportation plan tonight, the administration insists this is the safest way to leave the U.S. and avoid arrest. Officials stressing if undocumented immigrants don't leave on their own, they will come after them and remove them. The president saying if you don't self-deport, you will never get a path to come back in.
Yeah, you know, I'm a little bit of a Trump fan. He's doing a lot of good things. He's talking about opening up Alcatraz. With this one, I really don't agree with him. It's a shithole. You know, people have to go to prison when they commit a crime and they're found guilty. But going into ADX Supermax or Alcatraz, opening up that shithole, I don't agree with that. You're incarcerated. That's punishment. If you're going to put them in a shithole like that, that's torture. That's a whole nother ballgame. I think even if you commit a crime, you pay your debt to society by doing the crime, not by being tortured. You lose your freedom of coming out in the neighborhood, but I think opening up Alcatraz is a mistake. From what I understand, it's too expensive because there's very hard to get to with everything, with electric, with gas, with everything. And without people go in, they're our people, they committed a crime, they go to jail. You want to do reform, teach them things in prisons. Build a prison and teach them. Teach them how to become plumbers, carpenters, electricians, welders. They can teach them so that they come out, they change their life, they start over again. So I'm against extreme punishment. And if they're that extreme that we want to do that, then bring back the death penalty and kill them. Why should we do this? we're against killing them, but we're not against torturing them. You can't have it both ways. So I'm against this Alcatraz thing. Not only giving them $1,000, it's not about that. I like the later part of his conversation where he said, we'll see who they are. If they haven't committed crimes, you committed a crime when you came into the country. You're illegal. But that they could have a second chance, leave, come back in, or try to come back in the right way, and you could get back in. Now, there's a lot of those workers, farm workers, and all kinds of factory workers that could come back. So you're giving them at least you're not throwing them out. You're getting out, start over, come in the right way. He's giving you $1,000 plus a plane ride and a way back into the country. That's the part that catches me. I think that's a good plan because they do have. If they want to come back and they don't like their countries, come back, learn the language, love the country, salute the flag, and get a job. And you could come back in. I think that's fair.
I don't like your t-shirt. I'm an immigrant. I don't understand why you would want to deport some of my friends and family who have been working hard in this country.
What's your name? Sorry.
I'm Claudio, sir.
Yeah, Claudio. And this is just a thought exercise, but it's very revealing. You are king, and you find out that there are 30 million uninvited people in your country. What do you do with them?
I try to find the most humane way of sending them back to our country. But first of all, I want to say...
That's what we're doing.
Wait.
That's what we're doing. So what country did you emigrate from?
Are you going to, like, discriminate against me?
No, I'm going to do the opposite, actually.
I'm Mexican.
But you came here legally, correct?
I did.
You followed the rules. The people that you know didn't follow the rules.
True.
So I divide America not into Hispanic and white, into rule follower and rule breaker.
Yeah.
And so when someone breaks our rules, there must be justice done. And the most humane way is you go back to your country of origin.
Some of my boys, like, they're being, like, persecuted, like, back home, them and their families, like, they're, like, in, like, drug-related, like, wars and violence, and the only way out is if they escape and they break the American law, but that's the only way they're going to survive.
If that is correct, we have a special asylum status that they could seek legally at a port of entry, that they could go through a whole process.
I think Charlie Kirk is great. He's down with common sense all the time. I don't see him as a racist or a bigot. I don't see him as any of those things. He's straight up common sense. He tells it like it is. When I hear him talk, every time he talks about something, he's got common sense on his side. So I'm in for it 100%. I'm behind him. I think he should be a politician. He's honest, he's sincere, and he tells it like it is. He doesn't hold back. I just saw the video where he's telling the kid, you came in the right way, you're here, good. But somebody who don't come in, the kid admitted, yeah, then he should go back. So, you know, I don't understand what this whole thing is. When you're getting it, you can't just break into any country in the world. You can't just come in to their country and plop down and say, I belong here, give me all these benefits and everything will be okay. No, it don't work like that. If you want to go to another country, you would have to go through a process. If Americans went and wanted to live in another country, I love Italy. I can't go to Italy and just plop down. I would have to go through a process to get into that country and become a citizen. So what is the difference? I have to go through that process. You have to go through that process if you want to come here. And if you don't, you're breaking the law. If I don't go through that process in Italy or wherever I want to go, I'm breaking that law. And I'll probably be thrown out. If you really want to go and you're in trouble in your country, again, there's a process you can go through and say, I have to run or they'll kill me. There's a process, still a process to come through. You can't just run through the border. When you get caught, you say they were going to kill me. That's bullshit. There's a process to come in, whether you're in serious trouble or not, or you just want to come in and start your life over. I mean, years ago, you know, my parents were immigrants. People came into this country in droves, immigrants from all over the planet. And they came through Ellis Island and places. They came and went through a process to become an American citizen. And I think that's all America is asking, Trump is asking, come through the right way. And we'll welcome you. So, and they just don't want to do that. They just want to run in And the Democratic Party, for some reason, when they do that, I know the reason, but I'll say it in a minute, but they give them money, credit cards, a phone, place to live. They give them all kinds of things. They're doing that because when they do all those things and they let them in illegally, they want to even give them a card to vote. And what do they tell them to do? Vote Democrat. And we'll give you more. That's rigging our voting system as well. So now when you get tens of millions of people who they let in, you're rigging the vote. You're taking the vote away from the American people who are supposed to vote. You're rigging the election. So all of these things are gross and disgusting, and I hope that Trump, Republicans, and if there's good Democrats, revolt against this. If not, we're going to lose this country. We're going to lose the freedom that we have each and every day. So that's my opinion on it.